has come. I'm actually recording this on the same exact night that I recorded my non-spoiler review for Steven Universe the movie. Cartoon Network blessed us with the ability to be able to go and screen this film, and I have been waiting to go through this spoiler review. Like, I was kind of like, I can wait the next day, and I was like, you know what? I can go and have like a discussion if I'm having your final thoughts after the fact, but I want to go ahead and just get all this out of the air right now. Alright, let's go. So, if you do not want to be spoiled, please make sure you immediately go to the description bar below and check out our spoiler-free review, because I'm going to be going through everything. I have a whole listing of notes that you would not believe. So I'm going to go to the script. I normally don't do this. Normally I just go off the cuff of my head. But I'm going to go ahead and just riff off of this. But I'm trying to do like a layered template as well, so I can get through this pretty efficiently and pretty fast. Because I do have cons. I didn't talk about much of them because I couldn't, because it would be too spoilery. Not just that, I also did, in agreements with Cartoon Network, specifically keep information out about the villain, about certain things that happen, and I just had to keep those under wraps, sadly. But again, to outline this, the beginning of the movie starts off with Steven. He has, the past 2 years, been working with Homeworld to build a little Homeworld, which is very fascinating, with all those gems that were corrupted. I guess that's where they're residing, that's where they're living. They've put portals everywhere so they can go. If Steven wanted to go to Homeworld, he could immediately go in seconds without any kind of problem whatsoever. No flights, no tight situation. And he is with the diamonds. And the fascinating thing about this, I really wanted to talk about, but I couldn't, was the fact that the diamonds were literally singing to him. And they basically, what was the name of the song? Because I had the whole song listing as well. The name of the song was Let Us Adore You. And it was done by the same exact actresses that did the roles for White Diamond, Yellow Diamond, and Blue Diamond. And it was like a quartet, and they did such a really good job. But the main theme about it was that they wanted Steven to stay with them. And it wasn't out of control situation. I felt more for them than I did for Steven, because they were like, we've done everything you asked us to. Like, we've changed, like, we've gone and liberated certain things, like, we've disbanded trying to conquer other Earths or other worlds, and like, you're still not listening to us. The thing about this moment that is refining to me is the fact that later on down the line, the villain, which I'll reveal in just a second, asks Steven, because Steven's like, he convinces her, to go and stop the drill and to do what she needs to do, and like, he's kind of helped her out, and she just like notices he's just sitting there with his friends and family, and he's like, now we can get everything back to normal. And she's like, what about me? And like she's like, I've done everything you asked. And I was like, that's a callback to what they were doing, because he doesn't realize that even though he's not his mom, he still symbolizes her. And the diamonds are hurt and jaded that the pink diamond left them without any kind of resolve of what happened to her. And then when you think about the villain, it's the same exact situation, and Steven's making technically the same exact mistakes. He's using them, you know what I'm saying? And at the same exact time, he doesn't really realize it. And it's not out of like malice or hurt or anything like that, but it's just like, you don't know how sensitive people's situations are until you're put through the cuff, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I thought that was a really fascinating moment to go back to. But it's definitely, the film does a really good job with pacing with that. But specifically with them saying they would dismantle the Empire and all this kind of stuff, and he saved Homeworld, I was like, okay, he's good. And then all of a sudden, like, he asked Garnet, like, yeah, is everything good? You know what I'm saying? He does a really dope job where he goes and takes a flower up, and then wets his pinky, and then the flower pops back up. I thought that was so dope. But that Let Us Adore quartet was actually really good. One of the things I did think was funny was when he did come back from Homeworld, Connie was sitting there waiting right there for him. And she's going to space camp, which is really it makes a lot of sense because, I mean, she's probably going to be going doing space adventures with Steven the rest of her life, rest of their lives. And I'm not even sure if Steven even ages to the point he would die. Like, if he dies, I would assume his gym would just continue on. You know what I'm saying? To be fascinating if that's something that's actually a reality. But she left him with a kiss, which is a very cute moment. I thought that was very spent. Then they go into the song Happily Ever After, which Zach Callison does such a really good job with. But the only thing I can think of, I thought they should have named it Here We Are in the Future, but they do such a different rendition of it when it goes to Bismuth and Lapis and Peridot, specifically Bismuth, going and singing to Steven, trying to uplift him from everything he's kind of like realized what happened. Because, all right, now I'll reveal the actual villain's name, Spinel. Spinel, we find out, is Rose Quartz' friend. I don't know if she was specifically made for Rose Quartz, but the way that Pearl was singing is like she's basically perfect. Like, she has a perfectly cut diamond, or a perfectly cut gem. And like, they were close friends because Pink Diamond couldn't go anywhere, so they made her a little world on her own that had a garden, and they basically were there together. But the way that Pink Diamond looked at it, she didn't want to be there. She wanted to be with other people. She felt sheltered. And Spindle just wanted to spend...
Really quick, you guys. I just want to make sure you guys know, because I know how YouTube triggers hard. I know it's not Spinel. It's Spinel. It has been... I literally looked at it on the day of. And, yeah. So please, don't rag on this. I've been waiting to put this spoiler review out for a grip. But yeah, I have mispronounced Spinel so much. It's aggravating to edit this. I just had to add this in here. It's Spinel. Know that I know, okay? And know that, don't get frustrated because I didn't know some of the tracks and some of the other stuff, but I do know it. Just want to do this brief intermission. Sorry for taking your time. Keep watching.
Rest of her life with Rose Quartz, and she was fine with that, or with Pink Diamond. And unbeknownst to her, Pink Diamond was trying to hatch a way to get out, and she was like, okay, bet they're gonna give me this colony situation, I can go. Now, instead of taking this lady with her, like she could have easily done, because she took Pearl, she decided to go and leave her. And that's where the character development of probably one of the best refined villains, and probably one of the best songs that Rebecca Sugar has done, which is Drift Away, because that was when we found out from Spindle everything that kind of happened, and she sung it so perfectly, and it's just so mortifying. I think the first time I watched it, I was just kind of like trying to figure out, like, man, where is this villain? Like, what's going on, man? This is just a musical daggone. Like, I legit, the first time I watched it, I was kind of just like, where's Jasper? Where's this? What's going on with that? Like, who's gonna be the next villain? Like, I had all these expectations, and not just that, I got through a lot of videos with the roundtable. Shout out to those guys, because I was kind of like, man, this villain's gonna be one that doesn't have like any kind of remorse, like they don't have any redemption. They're just gonna kind of be like, I had that in my head, and that's not what the story pasted to be. But it doesn't make the villain any less amazing, because the second time watching, I was like, yo, that's messed up. 6,000 years, and you just sat there. To find out, not only is she no longer there, she's disappeared on you, and she's never coming back. And then she's basically left a son to go and have a residing life after the fact. And so not only she reproduced herself, but she's got a family, and then now they're with her. And then on top of that, she's got a son that's even doing more than what she did, and without Spindle. And the thing about that was a negative for me, that was a con, they never really clearly defined how she got the ship, or the drill, I should say. And it's evident that the drill works in tandem with her. So it's like, did she invent the drill? Like, did she make it? How did she do it so fast? Did she have help? I thought that would have been a really interesting tale of like somebody on Homeworld just didn't sit well with who Pink Diamond really was, or what she was supposed to be, and they were like, here she go. Because that would have been a gateway for season 6. And they didn't do anything with that. But I'll get to some more cons a little bit later on. But again, as the story goes on, Pearl, before Spinel even gets there, Pearl gets singing along with Greg, which works so awesomely because if you go back to Mr. Greg, when him, Pearl, and Steven go to Empire City, they go and they have that revelation, understanding that all this resentment and hurt and pain that Pearl's feeling, it really wasn't about Greg. It was really about what Rose did to her. It was like Greg was like, I knew that you loved her. It didn't matter. For her, it was the fact that she chose you. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was funny because Steven brought them back together, and then since that point, their relationship has flourished. And it's gotten even better to the point they even like each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like, but it's definitely assured that she is very much so taken back to who Greg is, and they're sitting there playing together, and it works even better later on when she's just so devoted to her, devoted to him, and then all of a sudden he just like, yo, can you please leave me alone? Now, the thing I think was a missed opportunity is at the Sadie concert, I was like, okay, yeah, they did everything they did. They went and they did Amethyst changed its rose. They did all these different kind of things. And I was like, what about the pink-haired girl? Like, she's not dating anybody. She's not progressing forward. Like, why not add the girl in pink? Like, I thought that was a shot in the dark. That was another person they didn't show. But with that is, even though they did not pay off what I was hoping to be for a revelational moment or a more deeper moment where Pearl gives us from in the past 2 years, she's found this young lady and saw her at rock shows, reason why she started playing bass, and all of a sudden, like, she's like, oh, well, here she is, like, and this kind of shakes her out of it. No, they went a little bit deeper with that. Instead, we got an epic fusion of Greg and Steven making Steg. Steg is a thing. I was like, let's freaking, and it's kind of just like the way they found it. It was so dope because he got two arms, but he just like looks like a bigger, bulkier version of Elvis Presley, like for real, like, and it was so dope. It was a little jarring sometimes, but when they started singing, what was the name of the song? I think it was Independent Together, yo. And they just like got like Pearl up just from playing, as well as everybody else. I was kind of just like, it would be the power of music that would be their asset. Like, because Greg is an amazing musician. So is Steven. So of course, when you combine the two together, like the love of music together with the guitar, like, let's go. And I loved it. I love it. As a matter of fact, I think even the guitar fused together with them, which is even more fascinating. So that was a surprise standout moment. I gotta go back though, because when Spindle came and like they were all kind of like, who the heck is this? And you like, you Steve Universe? Like, yeah, okay. Like, she legit was going for blows. Like, she kicked him in the face. Like, matter of fact, most of the time when Steven is going fighting these different adversaries, most of them don't try to like land blows in his face or try to like, I mean, some of them like, they said they try to hurt him or kill him, but it's like maybe drowning or like a super fastball, fireball or something like that. Not like a hand-to-hand fist combat situation. Like, Spindle put some hands on all of them. Matter of fact, Spindle in the beginning, like, when she got her scythe, which I think I had the name for it. I can't remember the name of it. But, I could probably go back, but I don't want to waste too much time. But when she pulled out her scythe, and, like, she was going in a motion that I was kind of like, they're not going to be able to dodge this. They're about to get pooped. Sure enough, straight up got poofed. And then on top of that, she started like slashing. Steve was like, nothing's happening. All of a sudden, like, unbeknownst to him, his gem is being reverted back to factory default. And it's just crazy because he's a diamond. So that means that she technically could have used that on any of the diamonds and it would have been back to factory reset. So, I mean, if I was her, I mean, she really wanted to. Like, after the movie is over, of course, she ends up back with the diamonds, and so it's a very beautiful thing. But if she really wanted to get her revenge, she legit could try to revert them back to day one and just take over, like, real for real. Like, I mean, I don't. How in the world does somebody like that get a weapon like that? Like, I mean, I guess they would never dare do that against any of their diamonds, but she did, out of, you know, anger and animosity, but rightfully so. I get it. I mean, it's just, I mean, when you got a device like that that can affect an actual person's gem, that's one thing. But when it can affect a diamond, that's a whole other thing. So, yeah, I'm surprised nobody even thought to do that. Matter of fact, if Steven would have thought about that, like, I mean, we might be. Anyway, I'm going to go to a different way with this. I think when Peridot was talking, like, she was talking about like 83% was complete for the little Homeworld warp. And then I think when Steven kind of like realized everything that's going to happen, because from the point that, you know, Spindle goes and tries to slash for him, like, she basically told him, like, your human half is gonna, like, no longer gonna make it through this, and your other gem part is not gonna fare much better. And this man, Steven, like, poofs her tail. In fact, I ain't seen Steven poof anybody since Bismuth, for real. Like, I mean, Steven's got it in him, but the way he did it with that side, like, he just, like, cut her down in half. And so then he starts to realize when people weren't coming back, like, yo, something's off. I can't even bubble this chick. And I don't know what's happening. And then he's basically went, I'm going back from square one. Come Bismuth, Lapis, and Peridot, which is a really dope song. Them kind of like, we're going to work this out together. And it's kind of like more of a rendition of We Are the Crystal Gems. For their group, which is fascinating to me. I think that honestly, they could have allowed Bismuth, Peridot, and Lapis to do a lot more. I think that was another con. I think that there was a really missed opportunity of having like Peridot and Lapis fused together and actually using them in the fight. The fact that they weren't actually in the fight, I mean, I get it. I mean, based on the circumstances, they really didn't have much to do. Because at a certain point, Steven said, like, look, y'all got to go save everybody in the city. Like, y'all got to dipset. So, I mean, it wouldn't have made any sense anyway. But they could have fused together and tried to done stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have been, like, using telekinesis to raise up the city and then, same that time, like, flight to do whatever. Like, I think that it was a missed opportunity doing, like, the payoffs for that. So I'm going to go ahead and just get into my cons, honestly. So, let me see. I wrote most of them down. Cons. White Pearl wasn't in this, which didn't make any sense. Like, it's really the Pink Pearl. She wasn't even in there at all. Like, no reference to her, no reason at all. Jasper wasn't there. Where the heck is Jasper? Like, she's a renegade, you know what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't even on Little Homeworld. They didn't even show a picture of her, so where the heck is she? Lars didn't talk, didn't say one word. Onion didn't grow. How does 2 years pass and he literally looks exactly the same? Now, granted, I mean, I guess Steven did that too. But you would think that Onion would grow a little bit. But then again, Sour Cream wasn't even in this, which didn't make sense because Sour Cream was the DJ. And at the concert, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, where's Sour Cream at? But, no, Stefani. I was kind of just like, I really wanted to see an adult Stefani. Like, they better pay that off in season 6 for real. Like, I was like, how you not gonna have a Stefani? I already talked about the pink hair girl, missed opportunity. The cluster. So this might be my biggest pet peeve / flaw with this, and I know why they did it. They refined this to be a closed story to focus on Spindle and Steven to parallel who and what they are going through as casualties of the mom. One reverted the positive way, the other one reverted a completely different way, negatively. I get it. But the critic in me and also the lover of the show in me are kind of merging together and kind of seeing these different things that I think were missed opportunities. But I think if you're a person that never seen the show And I mean, taking my, emotions out of it, it wasn't anything that was super negative. It was a musical through and through. Heck, there was a musical number between Amethyst and Steven, where they were just tap dancing. Great animation, great moment. The quartets of the Geistern Diamonds. Like, Steven had that epic moment where he's facing off against Spinel, and all of a sudden, like, he was like, no, that's not the truth. And then when the truth came out for Garnet, like, it was kind of like Garnet was actually being threatened, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Spinel was like, why don't you just kill me? Like, well, you really want to. And he broke the life. He's like, that's not true. And that's when Garnet got kicked out of it, and he goes through all these different metamorphoses. Matter of fact, every single time, every single one of them went back and reverted back to who they're supposed to be. If you've seen the show from Grip, every single time they've gotten poofed, they've changed. You got to see that silhouette of that change, and I thought that was such a beautiful touch. Thank you, Rick of Sugar, for that. But so I'm saying that there are refined moments that I did love, but I also had to talk about the ones that, I mean, in the same exact token, like, I can't sit there and talk about these specific things without talking about the other things that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Again, going back to Spindle's ship, I don't know if she made the ship. I don't know if it came back from somebody else. I don't know how it got actually even pushed there that fast. The material, where the material comes from, why? How is it that she's the only one that can control it? So it means it's her ship. Why would Pink Diamond have somebody that could do that? But the cluster, right? So when the toxin is pushed in, Peridot was basically saying, I think, I'd have to go back and say I've only seen it twice, that once all of it dispenses, like, all life on Earth eventually is going to go within, I can't remember how many days since he said. But my thing was that would immediately affect the cluster. The cluster is going to be immediately affected by that because it's underground, it's embedded into, or even more so than that, maybe the cluster would protect it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Would that mean that the cluster, once the infection comes down, everything that Steven did to try to bubble it and protect it, the bubble bursts? I just don't know. Like, they don't go there. And it's kind of like, you make all these different things to coincide these with the story arc, but you don't go into those specific things. So I just didn't understand why they didn't bring up the cluster, how that wasn't affected in any way. And, how did Steven just kissing the earth stop the poison from effectively messing up everything? Like, I don't know about that either. And again, I wrote down, did the villain make it or not? I thought it was funny when Steven was trying to use his super strength to pick up the actual ship, and he just made it worse. There was a couple different references that I loved, callbacks. I thought about a few of them, but when Pearl was cleaning up for Greg, and she was like reverted back to default Pearl, she took I think one of the guitars and just put it into her Pearl, and that's a direct reference to the consolidation that she does with specific things and organizes in her head. I thought that was a really dope reference. Sadie and Amethyst singing in the band together, I thought that was a dope song that they rocked out to. The callback for when basically Amethyst had to go and turn to Greg, that was a direct callback to the episode that I thought was the moment where I realized how serious the show Steven Universe really could be, when they alluded to a couple different things that maybe Greg and Amethyst, like, not necessarily romantically involved, but it was kind of like he was connected to her because of Rose, and on top of that, she was doing that vice versa. And it's kind of just like, when she decided to go and become Amethyst, become Rose Quartz, it was kind of like he said, don't do this again. I thought I was like, man, I was so messed up. Steven hadn't caught them like that. But yet, to make sure that Pearl could come back, Greg cared enough. He was like, look, do what you got to do. And I thought that was really interesting because you've shown the progression and the evolution of these characters in a lot of different ways. when the song was going on, right, for Steg, you had Amethyst and Pearl go and fuse together to make Opal, right? And then they started playing together with Steg, which is such a dope, great choice. But then all of a sudden, a default Garnet is just going across the air with Lion, and I was like, yo, what in the world am I watching? It was a spectacle. It was definitely a musical moment, and I loved it. I really did love it. But all the lines with Spinel, when she was kind of going through her song, like, in fact, her being up for 6,000 years, and she waited endlessly in the sky for 1,000 years go by. It was just a great song in and of itself, and just defining who she actually is. And then to the point where she realized, or Steven kind of told her, you deserve a better friend. And they kind of have their own duo together. They had their own duet together. And I think it kind of ended with You're Gonna Feel Found. And today, I really already do feel found. I think that was one of the things that Spinel ended with. Which makes it even more interesting because Connie comes out with swords blazing, like, ready, let's go. And, like, trying to go and protect her man with that Akira slide. But by this time, you know, Steven had protected everybody and getting Spinel back on the side, and she takes it out. But then that's when she's broken. One of the things I really wanted to talk about in the non-spoiler review was the fact that we've seen gems, you know, cracked. We've seen gems poofed. We've never seen a gem actually shattered. I still have yet to see it. They talked about it, never actually seen it. I thought that was going to be this movie. I was like thinking this one. I realized, I think, in the first 20 or 30 minutes that we're not going to see anything shattered. Now, there was a close call when Ruby and Sapphire were together, and like when the anvil, I was like, anvil? Really? When Steven caught the anvil with his with the shield, and like Sapphire was like, you're about to get crushed. And I was like, the first time I watched it, I was like, what? Second time I watched it, I didn't catch the reference when she said, like, I'm so sorry, Ruby. And then Ruby was like, at least I got to know you, or something to that nature. And then she goes, and then that's when they had this amazing, beautiful moment, which tied to the song that Estelle sings, which was, is it love? Isn't it love? I'm sorry. And I think that was the moment I thought that was possible. But going back to that, and I know this is a lot, I apologize. With Spinel, she is a fractured emotional gem. And I thought, honestly, Rose Quartz was bad until I saw Pearl and what she did to Pearl. Like, I was like, yo, Pearl is so messed up, right? Because of what Rose Quartz did to her. But at least Pearl had outside help. You know what I'm saying? She kind of held on to all the secrets, but she had outside help. Spinel spent 6,000 years doing nothing but waiting. And it just broke her. Like, it broke her from the inside out. And I was like she can never trust. She can never really try to even be good. Like, it's deep-seated. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when she went and started doing the right thing, like, those tears were like literally divots in her face that had been left there for whatever amount of time. And I mean, it couldn't have been so long because I don't know. But either way, it scarred her. It scarred her physically because she was emotionally broken. And I think that's the most broken I've seen somebody, because when she was fighting Steven, like, I was like, yo, she's trying to kill this man. And at one point she even said, when they were fighting, like, I don't even know why. Because at this point, Steven had this moment where he realized that this whole entire time, like, he's changed. Like, over time, like, he's done what he's supposed to do. And I'll get to one of my favorite lines that I didn't catch until the second time watching. But when they were fighting, like, at a certain point he realized, like, change was the reason. And then he kind of, like, poofed out of it, and he was ready to go. Super Saiyan Steven. He didn't have a Super Saiyan moment. I would love for his eyes that turned pink or something like that. Or his, like, his gemstone to actually turn to the actual diamond that's supposed to be upright instead of like his mom who's downright. But basically he kind of beat the brakes off her, but she kind of slammed him into the machine. And then they had this conversation. She was basically like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I want to kill you so much. And he basically was like, I understand. And she's like, no, I'm so sorry. Like, after the fight was over, she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, what have I done to the earth? Like, what about your happily ever after? And Steven basically was like, there is no happily ever after. He's like, I think I wrote it down. Okay, probably change the first one. I got promise. I can promise. I can make a change. Oh, that's when they did make a change. That was such a dope song by Zach. Zach did such a good job. It was a little cheesy at certain points, but it was really good. And that was when Spinel was like she started reflecting, like, nobody ever found me entertaining. She never really cared. At least you found me entertaining, kind of funny. That's when Steven said, there's no such thing as happy, and I will always have work to do. And that was after the explosion. After that, the explosion happened. I think maybe season 6 they're gonna have to be repairing the planet. Maybe they have to go into that. I'm not really sure. Figure out what needs to be fixed. If there's anything needs. I just can't believe that it's just completely fixed. Like that doesn't make sense. Steven started kissing the ground to heal stuff. Yo, your girl Garnet was like, yo, you need to hydrate. And she just goes in, it's like, hydration is the most important thing with smooch. And I was like, I cannot. But then Spinel was basically talking to Steven about to leave because she was like, I gotta go. Like, I want to try to be good. I think I'm gonna try, but I think I need to start with something new. Like, I've done too much. This is just too much. And then that's when the diamonds came and come to Earth to live with Steven. And it was funny because it goes full circle. Like, these two people that, Rose courses failed and hurt, or Pink Diamond that failed and hurt, are now being able to deal with their pain through being together. And they're being refined through their circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though this happened, yes, but at the same exact time, like, now they can kind of progress in a better way than they ever have. And I thought that was such a beautiful sentiment, because there's a lot of times when people go and get in relationships with people, and that relationship is so destructive, it messes them up, and they can't recover from it. But then there's just some liberating moment that is plausible and possible to find love elsewhere, and it make it even better than it ever could have been. And I thought that was really fascinating how they went into that on a metaphorical level, even deeper with Steven, like him being an adult and him going with these sentiments of like happily ever after, that he forgot the fact that how he got there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's so focused. Because I mean, a lot of people, like, when you get to the promised land, when you get to have your dream house, your dream family, you don't think about how you got to the point that you got there. It's more so like, man, I just want to keep this, versus how can I make sure other people don't go through this? Or how can I make sure I'm refined? How can I make sure I'm continue to grow and grow wiser? And that's through the experiences that you've gone through. And that's life, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things that the second time watching it, I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this, Rebecca. Even more so than that, like thinking about Bismuth, Lapis, and Peridot, they each were like, yo, I've tried to kill Steven a couple different times. Lapis, like, I'm still on the fence about it. But in all honesty, like, thinking about where they came from to the point that they had to encourage him to be who he needed to be, that's even more growth, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though people that consider themselves villains, like, I mean, every single person that considers themselves villain, like, being around Steven, like, has changed for the better, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was definitely really fascinating. I think I've gone through all the cons that I had. It's like 2 o'clock right now. Like, the rest of this stuff is just a whole bunch of going back and forth. Like, Amethyst going to Bedalia's spot. call back to like her and Bedalia having that conversation, but they could have easily put Bedalia there. Maybe the voice actor wasn't available. Maybe that might be what some of the problems were with some of the voice actors not saying anything sometimes. But some people didn't even have lines. Like the girl in pink doesn't have a voice actress, so I don't know. That saw moment with Spinel was hilarious. Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. But again, Spindle, when they first saw her and she broke out into her song, like, I was like, what the heck? And it's just funny that there's not anything made like her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see any other just like her. And that's the thing. They don't, I think that might be a con. They don't define whether or not there's anything quite like her. Like was there any other gems that were made like her? Or was that specific type of gem made for Pink Diamond? Matter of fact, why wasn't Pink Diamond's diamond looking like that? Like, she kind of looks like a diamond, for real, for real. I thought that would have been an interesting little take if she take on the responsibilities as the new Pink Diamond, but it is what it is. I don't want to make sure that I kind of lean on my negatives just being because things that I want, but more so like the progression of the characters. The progression was there. Like, the characters did evolve. Like, they learned. Musical numbers were really good, sung very well. Some. I mean, there weren't too many songs that were bad. In fact, like, songs were pretty good. Some were kind of like throwaway, not necessary for certain moments, but all in all, they were all really good. Sang very well, and it was a musical through and through. Even like the last scene, had my man. I was kind of like, the first time I watched it, I was like, what the heck? Why is Steven in a pink suit and getting some flowers? Like, that would be how the curtain call happens. Like, you get, your flowers and everybody takes a bow and that's it. So I think that was the reason why I gave this an 8.5 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10. A lot of people are probably going to go and like, why did he give it 8.5 out of 10? He said everything positive. I couldn't go into the negatives. I literally couldn't. Like, they literally were like, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. And I was like, bruh, how am I supposed to do this? I legit asked myself that question. Like, I was kind of low-key nervous because I didn't know if I could not talk about certain things. So yeah. Let me see. What was the thing that... Is there anything else that I could talk about? Spindle being the best friend. Spindle's name. This is funny. Ooh, the Rejuvenator. That was what it was called. Her weapon is called the Rejuvenator. That was crazy. The reset button weapon, which is nuts. Oh yeah, I already talked about Steg. I think that was it. But yeah, if I was everybody in Beach City, I would legit go to move to Little Homeworld. For real, I wouldn't go back. Bump that, bro. Like, they're like ground zero. Like, I don't even know where Little Homeworld is. That's another thing. They never said where Little Homeworld's actually being placed at. But yeah, I think I've gone through pretty much everything. This is my spoiler review for Steven Universe the movie. I'm exhausted. You guys are probably exhausted. Hopefully I didn't come off as rambling. Hopefully I went through almost everything. If I forgot some stuff, just let me know in the comments. We can riff about it in a discussion later on. But yeah, I really did enjoy this. Second time more so. Have a blessed one. Keep it locked. Jay, that's when you'll stop. Peace, guys.